are moving on to our ninth speaker for today. Salve Duplito is a distinguished education and consumer protection, leading Empower and Transform to drive financial literacy amid the COVID-19 shifts. As resident financial advisor of On the Money, her segment on A on the Money, her segment Salve Says on AB's channel imparts valuable personal finance insights. Currently, she co-hosts Panalong Discarte on DWPM Teleradio Servicio and anchors Business Outlook on ANC. Last November, she was recognized for the third time as an investor champion of the Securities and Exchange Commission for her efforts in promoting personal finance and consumer protection. Recently, she was awarded as an outstanding woman in personal finance by the San Beda University's Junior Financial Management Association. Furthermore, Salve actively engages with various professional organizations, demonstrating her commitment to collaboration and community involvement. She is a proud member of esteemed groups such as the Management Association of the Philippines, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Quezon City, and the Women's Business Council Philippines, and of course, the Rotary Club of San Juan Supreme. Ladies and gentlemen, to talk about the transformational nature of financial inclusion, let's give a warm welcome to Ms. Salve Duplito.
Thanks, Ange. For around 30 years, my byline and my screen name was known in the business world for financial journalism, investigative reporting, and financial advisory, especially for the marginalized, disenfranchised, the poor and the middle class with very little access rather, to independent financial information in a country with massive information asymmetry. Now, I know that's a mouthful, so let's simplify. I wrote stories about money to empower those who don't have money. Along the way, I made friends among the rich and famous, as well as those who have barely enough to feed their families, and a lot of Filipinos in the in between worlds of finance. Now, the daughter of a very rich tycoon, one of the richest in the country, according to Forbes, once called me the money girl. Where I came from, however, was anything but that of a money girl. I am the fifth child of a couple who split when I was 5 years old, and because of that family crisis, I grew up in poverty. My father came from a landed family in Bicol, and one of my earliest memories was living in a big house near an ocean with pristine white beaches, colorful bougainvillea bushes, and a small swimming pool with two huge sea turtles, pawikan, and I called them my very own pets. It was an idyllic setting until the fairy tale bubble burst after a huge and violent argument. My mom told me to pack our things. We were leaving. I swear, my sea turtles had tears in their eyes when I said goodbye. In Legazpi City, where we were to live without my father's support, there was no space for a swimming pool for my sea turtles. Transporting them to the city, they were by then each as big as a child's desk, was out of the question. We had to ride a boat. So at that time, I knew that something tragic was happening with my parents, but my main concern really was leaving my sea turtles behind. I was 5. Little did I know that something horrible was about to happen to my friends. I was about to lose them forever. Those magical creatures who could live up to 150 years old had they been swimming in the ocean where they truly belong. When we left Buena Vista, my uncles ate them as pulutan. Eventually, the only things I got back were their magnificent shells, now decorating one of the walls of Bicol University. You can still find them there. My family donated them to the school. This period in my life taught me many things. We all have scars, whether they're emotional, intellectual, social, or financial. We all have people in our lives who hurt us, make us feel small, or try to reduce our value. It takes a lot of time to recover from the personal crisis that life will throw our way. But who we are What we are is never a collection of our tragic moments. Our nature, in fact, is magnified by those moments. Our value as humans is inherent in the fact that we were born here on earth to be gifted with the experience of having sea turtles as friends, with stars to guide our journey, with the ocean to calm our tears and the wind to carry our wails. No amount of money can buy that. No amount of expensive shoes, bags, cars, or homes can define us. And no number of rich friends or likes and shares can prove our worth. We prove our own worth in the way we live, in the way we love, and in the way we build up the value of others. It is about knowing your true value, living in a way that enhances that value, and empowering others around you to embrace their own infinite value. This is what we do here in Global Women Who Rule. We make others feel their own value. Boy Abunda, in his show The Bottom Line on ABS-CBN, threw me a curveball at the end of an interview with my co-author of a book called, his name is Mon Abrea. He asked us, Salve, what is your net worth? You know how Boy Abunda does that. Without any clue, is going to throw you a curveball. And without a pause, I replied, infinite. So you guys listening, say this with me. I am of infinite value. And no matter what my social, mental, or financial status is, I am of infinite worth. And that is how I will live. I believe this is an important message for the next generation. And for you viewers who represent bright pinpricks of hope in the beautiful Philippine night skies, we dedicate these words. You see, commercialism is the biggest financial risk faced by our people today, as the Philippine economy continues to grow at a pace that other advanced jurisdictions can only dream of having. As our country fully enters a demographic sweet spot, people have more money to buy houses, fly on airplanes, stay in hotels, eat in restaurants, clothe themselves with more expensive brands, among other things. Big companies know about this, and they are spending billions of money to entice our people to buy more stuff. Buy, buy, buy. And they know exactly what buttons to push. Think, when was the last time you bought on impulse? The boodles. If you're like the typical Filipino today, trapped in a pandemic apocalypse or post pandemic apocalypse, you would reply, yesterday. Our people have lost the art of budgeting and planning, buying something only when they have the cash to pay for it. Vacations are paid with credit cards, and both oldies and Generation Zs and the millennials in between do not realize that the interest tucked in monthly when they get home from their Instagram chosen tourist highs can almost double the cost they thought they paid. So are appliances, eating out, clothing, and footwear. Sometimes that list even includes tuition and Christmas parties. I'm not trying to demonize credit cards. I think credit cards are great financial tools, but when misused, can cause financial ruin. Do you know how to check if you have a credit card or a debt problem? There is an easy way. Ask yourself if you can pay your credit cards in full on your next due date. If not, you're in trouble. Now, there's another dark cloud that hangs over our country at the moment because of this demographic sweet spot. Fraudsters are watching people's every move. And this is easier said now because of social media. In the pre internet days, fraudsters dived through our trash or sent someone to watch our streets, even talk to our neighbors and kasambahays to get sensitive information about our lives. How often and what time we leave the house, how much cash we keep, if we have jewelry lying around, you get the idea. Nowadays, the fraudster's job has gotten easier since we upload this information ourselves to our social media. Pushed by the need for social affirmation, those likes and shares, we unthinkingly give out private information to the public, which fraudsters now can use to do social engineering. And because this kind of crime is so difficult to prove now, our people have no recourse when they use this information to get our trust or access our bank account. Just read the latest headlines. A lot of people lose money to fraudsters and investment scams on a daily basis because we ourselves are lax with our own information security. But a happy storm is about to descend on the poorest half of the Filipino population. In the next couple of years, if blockchain technology spreads wealth easily across the value chain, meaning middlemen are removed and the farmers, the fisherfolk, small entrepreneurs, they get the chance to have a bigger slice of the wealth pie. Many of our countrymen will have a lot more money on their hands. Does that mean, however, that they will be wealthier? Money, wealth, magkasunod ba talaga? Well, I am afraid the answer is no. A lot of the people I work with on financial literacy for the masses are concerned that while things are moving to spread the empowering nature of financial education, that's empowering and transformational nature of financial knowledge among our people, they are not moving nearly fast enough to overtake the speed of technology. I have been watching and working on the field of financial literacy and personal financial planning for more than, well, almost 30 years. Rewards are multiplying as our lips can almost taste the promise of finally becoming the Asian super tiger. But make no mistake, risks are also rising. Someone once told me, what is a nation but a collection of its people? That's true, isn't it? Grown ups measure economic progress by using a statistic called gross domestic product. GDP figures are released quarterly and annually by the government to a waiting army of analysts, economists, businessmen, and policymakers who need to know whether our country is doing well or not and how we compare with countries all over the world. This may be an oversimplification, but GDP is essentially an accounting of whether more money changed hands faster compared with the previous year. Now, all business decisions that make up GDP come from an analysis of how you and I save and invest our money. You see, we are what our country becomes. I'll repeat that. We are what our country becomes. Now, within this backdrop, imagine the kind of individual transformation that must occur to propel an entire nation to move forward. It is not enough that money comes in. It is important that both companies and individuals spend that money on the right things and keep an ample amount for the future. There must be a right mix of consumption, savings, and investment in every household so we don't end up using unsustainable consumer debt to live better. Now, what complicates the situation is that about 1/5 of our population is very poor. They can barely feed themselves with nutritious food. In fact, now, because of inflation, they can barely eat. They can barely buy things to put on the table. They can barely find jobs. And millions are dependent on government cash assistance. But while their biggest problem is lack of money, just giving them cash is a recipe for disaster. Without financial literacy, without understanding the power of that money they're given, without knowing how to manage it, without ideas on how to make it grow, that money will probably be wasted. Or worse, even hurt their chances at living a better life. And yet the world constantly throws money after the poor. For so many decades, philanthropists create programs that make cash accessible to those who belong to the poorest of the poor, expecting them to be entrepreneurs the next day. They are There are lending programs, entrepreneurship programs, and dole outs that seek to water a land that is parched with information for financial education. It will never work. Now, what is important for our people today is financial education. It must be a critical component in these programs because a deeper understanding of how the world of money works develops an entrepreneurial culture among our people. And this culture gives them the know-how, the skills, the confidence, and the ability to say, hey, that's a business opportunity I can take on. How I would love to see our people adapt this kind of culture and shed the victim mentality that grips our nation. We can't fully blame the millions stuck in poverty. That situation is the result of decades of poor policies, flawed culture, and lack of political will. In the eyes of an extractive government, a poor, dependent, and uneducated populace is a lot easier to manipulate. But the wheels are turning, and as our world tries to claw our way out of the coronavirus pandemic, and we're still feeling it. We embrace the cusp of the fourth industrial revolution. The way money will spread will change the way things are done. Blockchain, artificial intelligence, QR codes, smartphones, the internet are changing the way money will spread. It will change the way things are done. And we will see a world that we have never imagined. There is hope that this movement will explode, and it can be a tool for empowerment for the young, for the masses, for the global women who rule around the world, and the overseas Filipino workers, and for everybody else. Why understanding money is critical for OFWs and the next generation and everybody in this country in the last 25 years, I have created many financial plans for various groups and individuals. The process usually goes like this. We see if we're a good fit for one another, and after one or two meetings, and if we are, we go through the months of consultations and discussions, behavioral analysis covering spending and investing patterns, and financial analysis of their cash flow, debts, and assets. This is more than financial education. This is mentoring one-on-one. And by the end of the period, I turn over a financial plan, usually written in a big binder, complete with detailed strategies for budgeting, debt management, insurance management, investments for education, for retirement. I know you're tired listening to this, but some plans are more comprehensive than others, especially if there's an estate plan involved. Some plans are more challenging. For instance, when mentees are under a huge amount of debt. But this is the transformational nature of it. All of them are a labor of love. And we almost usually end up being lifetime friends. You need 50 million to get this from the current system in the financial world. Here with us, you need a lot less. Now, we are at the moment, at the time in the economic history of the world where it seems like the US economy is doing so well, but there are cracks in the system. So, what I have discovered is this: the harsh reality that is for those of you who are just starting in your young age, you are really playing a catch-up game. It's not impossible for those in the higher age brackets to achieve their financial goals. But the best time to begin preparing for retirement is now. The best time to start thinking about the future is now. And that is why financial literacy is very transformational in nature. I'm very happy that the government, the financial system, banks, insurance companies are already starting to move as one in doing this. And I am very happy that here in Global Women Who Rule, there is a spotlight placed in this area so that more people can join in. Thank you so much.